bed moving around. Whoops. I promise this will be okay. Alright guys, so today we are going to assemble the printer. So this is the assembly guide right here. You should see each of these steps popping up on your screen as we go through them. So it's going to be really easy to follow along. We're just going to follow it to a T and then possibly go through this, you know, test before printing screen. But most likely I'll just kind of show you how to do that myself. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to start with step 1, which is assembling the gantry frame. So, oh yeah, one thing you want to do too is prepare. Make sure you check all of these, that you have it all. All of my stuff's right in here. And of course, in front of me with the tools provided. So everything's good to go. Just gotta get on the table and then we're gonna go ahead and start assembling. So let's get this gantry going. So you're gonna need these 4 long screws out of the install screw bag to do the gantry. And you wanna make sure that the crush washers are on them. Usually they'll fall off in the bag, like that one. Yeah, that the other one did too. Okay, so just gotta make sure you grab them all because those crush washers are what prevent them from slipping out once you have the gantry installed. So, cool. And then you're gonna use the biggest one that you have of all the 3 sizes they give you to put these in. And we're gonna take our gantry here and we're gonna see if I can do this by myself. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of aligning the extrude. And then what I'm gonna do is, in the video they kind of went down from underneath right here, which I thought was kind of a good idea. So I'm going to try and do the same thing. Cool, looks like we got the first one. And then I think what I'm gonna do is get rid of the other stuff that we don't need on the table because I gotta rotate this thing. And see, there it goes, it's starting to tighten up. I gotta do the other side. That way the gantry kind of stays in place when I move it around. And you know what, let's just do this. Little 90-degree turns, go right towards where you are. Guys, go ahead and leave a comment about how amazing my girlfriend's been filming these videos for me. But basically there's these 2 holes underneath here. Once I get the printer sideways, I'll show you what I mean. Before you snug this up, you want to make sure that this is completely flush with the edge so that it comes out perfectly 90 degrees, I guess, and that it's spread out exactly the width that it needs to be for it to print right. So we're gonna do that. That should be good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is turn this sideways now. And we're going to try and get, is my bed moving around? Whoops. Guess we're gonna see how good these power supplies are here pretty soon. Okay guys, so I promise this will be okay. This is a really high quality power supply and it landed on carpet, so we're good. You're gonna go ahead and put these last 2 in here. And I'm gonna just snug them in first and then I'm gonna go over all the screws and tighten them pretty good.
There goes, nice.
Right in there like this. I think this needs to be like, oh, is this supposed to be sticking here somewhere? I guess right there is fine, no big deal. So make sure that's on there, the extrude's good. Get snug up right now in a second. There it goes.
Okay, so we just tighten these.
I'm gonna try and do this kind of like I'm seating like cars on a wheel. You want to switch off all the bolts until they're all really snug and then go kind of hard. What I usually do is I use 2 fingers and tighten it to where I can't with the twisting of my wrist. And that's usually enough leverage to get these things really tight on there. 2 more. Then we're on to the next step.
Stay here, actually.
And that's just like by itself. That's weird. Okay, so this piece right here is just attached by 2 bolts. And then this kind of moves. So hopefully that's not going to cause any issues, but I don't think it will. But I think what they could do is go off of this T-nut. And then, yeah, like down here we have, oh, so that's loose too. Check that out. The fan is loose. That's going to cause vibration. So you want to make sure you tighten that. But I think if I was Eryone, I would make a little bracket that went from here to the T-nut of the extrude, like a little printed bracket. So you screw in this piece on the bracket and then put the other piece into the T-nut and that'll hold this solid. and that would keep that nice and snug. But let me get something to tighten that really quickly. Bladang. Okay, so just make sure, like I said in my assembly video, in my unboxing video, sorry, that you go over every single screw, because these guys have to make a ton of these at the factory. So sometimes, you know, as all humans do, there's mistakes that are made and people forget to tighten all these down. So that's good. That means less vibration on the fan. Okay, so you got your gantry all installed from the bottom. All right, guys. Step 2, you should have already saw that popped up on the screen. We're gonna do the brackets. So what you wanna do for these is just pull out your brackets. You got one for the right side and one for the left side. I'm just gonna set that one over there. Looks like this one uses, I think this is a 2mm screw. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. And I'm gonna teach you guys about the T-nuts here. And what I always tell people to do is kind of align these ahead of time. Just like that. That way, when you put them into the extrude, they just kind of slip in. So you're just gonna turn it, and then you're going to slide it in and see how it just kind of sat itself in there. And then what these do, a lot of these T-nuts, if you see here, that T-nut won't turn sideways. And what you have to do for these is you have to loosen them really fast. So I'm kind of using this little like finger spin technique. So I'm loosening them until you can see how that piece moved back, and then you spin it really fast. So like you loosen it and then spin really quick clockwise, and it'll turn the T-nut, and that's what you want to do, and you want to just snug it. So you want to do that to every single one, even the ones that you can't see, and then you'll feel it grab. And so you're going to do this, like that. You're going to spin it really fast. Yeah, that time I grabbed it. Okay, so you can see that the T-nut's not tightening all the way, so what you want to do, and hopefully this will show on camera, when I loosen it, you should see this T-nut move backwards. So when you're loosening it like that, see, yeah, you can see how it's moving back. It kind of seats itself into the little grooves of the extrude, and then when you spin it, it'll turn. But if it doesn't turn all the way, like that one doesn't, some of them get stubborn because the teeth on them kind of get stuck. You just loosen it up a little bit more. And this is, I mean, if you get good at the spin technique, okay, never mind, it worked like that. If you get good at the quick spin technique like that I was trying to show you, it'll do that on its own. But if not, you just take a little Allen wrench and you push that top in, and then it'll snug itself. So I'm just gonna do the same thing on this last one. You don't have to film it since we know what we're doing. Cool, perfect. And then what I want to do is make sure this bracket is perfectly flush, or else my OCD will kill me. And now we're gonna just put the bracket on. This is more of a support bracket, so I'm not too worried about how it's torqued. Just kind of torquing it to where the screws don't move. And you don't want to go any further than that, because, you know, the smaller the screw, the easier to shear off the head on them. Okay, so that one's done. Let's go ahead and go to the other side. I'm gonna turn this again towards your way. And then I'll just keep one of these guys handy in case I need to move the T-nut. But it looks like this goes to motor. Just kind of going over which wires need to go where. So left bracket, looks like it's only 2 T-nuts. Top one's gonna go vertical, bottom one's gonna go horizontal, and then just pop it in. And then what I'm doing with this one, since it doesn't really need to be aligned, is I'm just letting it bottom out. So I'm letting the gravity of the thing hold it down like that. And what I'm just gonna do is just do my little spin technique. Okay, that one's a little harder to get. There we go, got it. And then this one, I wonder if I want it closer or further. No, let's do it closer. Let's just kind of get it all the way to the right. So what I'm doing on the top one is just getting all the way to the right, and then we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, yeah, I felt that one engage. Perfect. And then, cool. So simple bracket. This is just for the end stop. And then I won't put the end stop wire in yet until the manual tells me to, but okay, that one's good. And that one's good. Cool. Step 2, done. All right, so step 3, it looks like we're gonna attach the hot end to its little gantry there on the extruder wire, and then it has this kind of weird wiring diagram, but I'll just show you guys how to do that myself, because the diagram's a little bit cluttered. But anyway, okay, so let's do the hot end. Go back to your install screws, and you're gonna want to get out the 2 small screws. You'll see the 2 smaller screws that there are in here, and the 2 crush washers. Those 2 there, and I think this one uses just the smallest one that comes with. I'm not sure what this is, a 1.5 or something. And then we're just gonna do the same thing with the crush washers. Throw them on there, and then what I'm gonna do is give myself a little bit of room on this X gantry. Okay, cool. So this is kind of a good thing to show too. So as you're lifting this up with your Z's back here, this is how you adjust them. This is how you adjust your X. Like you can do the right side up and down. And then when I do the setup video, I'll show you how to align your X gantry with the marks they have on the front. So that way, you know, your X gantry is perfectly level. Cool, that should be enough room. Okay, so these belts are like really loose. I think it comes like that from the factory just to keep the belts safe. I'll show you how to tighten those too. Okay, so the hot end wire comes over. And then I'm gonna get one of these screws. I just hold it with my finger. And we're gonna put it right through here ahead of time. And then I'm gonna just screw it on. It's only 2 holes it goes. Pretty simple. So I'm gonna rotate that until it's snug. Do the other side. Same thing, holding it with my finger, kind of aligning it. So it'll kind of seat itself in the hole, and then you're going to screw it together like that. And then what I'm gonna let the hot end do on both sides is I'm gonna kind of loosen these. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this hot end bracket, which I think is actually super nice. I thought this was injection molded, but it's a full metal bracket, so that's pretty cool. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push against the X gantry and then pull it up, so that way the hot end is level against the screws. And then I'm gonna go ahead and screw those in. So we're just doing this. I don't think we need to go too crazy here. We're just gonna do it to where crush washer gets crushed and then it gets tight, and that should be enough. I think the crush washers will handle the vibrations just fine. But I think these heads are a lot smaller, and so gotta be careful with stripping them. Anyway, that should be fine. That was a simple step 3, huh? Okay, step 4, assembling the feeder. I call it the extruder. But okay, so let's see what they say to do. Loosen the circle, the screw, and the circle too. Tighten the bar. So loosen that screw, tighten that bar. Turn whole wheel of feeder parts. Okay, I think I get this. So it comes with this little baggie here. So we have some extruder parts here. So what we're gonna do is, yeah, mine just came kind of like that. You're just gonna, I think I'm just gonna do that. Lift this, and then. There we go, that works for me. And then, okay, so let's get our pieces out. This extruder piece, we'll just leave here for now. And then here's your little screws. It's pretty simple. So this little silver cup piece just goes right into that big spot, the only spot that it can go. So I had to figure out what's going on with these things. If you use the long one, it doesn't work in here, it sticks out too far. So the long one goes in the only other place it can go. And then the small one just drops right in here. So I'm gonna use that and our little smallest Allen wrench to screw that in. See, am I getting it in right? That's what she said. Okay. And then this one, I'm just gonna flush it up with the edge here. Get a little bit more spring action that way. Oh, there it goes. Grab the motor. Let me turn that motor so it's straight. Good. And then this one up here, I'm gonna turn that until it's tight. Snug though, you want this to still turn. And there you go. And then the next thing over here, so we take this little guy and we're gonna just screw him in. I don't think this has to be too tight. They didn't give you a tool to tighten this Bowden adapter or the one on the hot end, so you kind of just have to wing it. Cool, so that's pretty much the end of step 4. Next we're gonna do is the wiring, which I found the booklet kind of confusing, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of show you guys what to do. So what I'm gonna do is start with these little ones that are underneath that come off the actual wiring loom. One goes right through here, so one goes right through this bottom here and just gonna pop up. It's like, hey, I'm alive. Okay, and then we're just gonna go right into this adapter here. Hopefully it'll focus.
That's how we're gonna be after the stay at home.
Okay, so, and then right into the little end stop switch. That one's done. And then same thing, off that same loom, we're gonna go underneath. It's gonna go right into this hole. All right, and then we're gonna try and pull it as much as we can to get enough slack to turn this, put it in the motor. You want these little 2 pins on the actual wiring. Yeah, that way you know they align. I mean, you'll know how to put it in there because it only goes in one way. It won't go, if you flip that, it won't go in. And so let's do the other motor while we can. So it's just over here on the other side. Okay, cool, so now we're on this side. Same thing, 2 pins, kind of turn this and then just pop it in. There you go, make sure it's seated all the way. Okay, the handle's all that. Now we just got hot end stuff to do. So I'm gonna move this over to this side, and then this one, if you want to just, I guess we can get low here and try and get this one to go in. Okay, this one looks like it's X motor, so we're gonna put that one into X motor. Remember, it only goes one way, so you don't have to really follow this too much. Just know that that one goes X. E motor is extruder, so we're gonna throw that over here. Can you see that one right here? Okay. This one for BL, I think this is for the BL touch boards and stuff. I think that one's for proximity or BL touch sensor. It kind of gets pre-wired for you which I think is awesome because then you just plug in a BL Touch here or a proximity sensor, maybe one that picks up the bed like an inductive sensor. And then from there you just have to run it inside this loom, and then it'll already be attached to your hot end via like this top screw or maybe something down here, I'm not too sure. Okay, cool. So the last one that we have to do is it looks like this one goes through this hole here. Beep, beep, beep. So we're gonna keep following it through the 2 holes, the assembly brackets, and then I think this one just goes sideways like this with the clip facing the front of the printer. Yeah, just like that. And then pop it in, and that clip holds it. And that should be good. I kind of want to put like a little bit of strain relief here somehow. Maybe like, no, I think it'll be fine. But I think it'd be nice if like maybe there's a piece coming off this bracket or something that held this here, like that or something. But anyway, I'm gonna wait to do this piece because it's probably hard to get the filament to go through it until it's through, and then you can put this on top of it. But that looks like that's pretty much it. We're just gonna plug in the power supply now and then get it to print. So let me move it over to some power. Cool. I think the last couple things we need to do is, this is a USB cable. I don't think we need to use that. Put the SD card and the knob. So the first thing I want to do is put this knob on because it's been bugging me that it's not done. Okay, and then the SD card on the right here, middle slot. Did I get it in there right? Yeah. Good, and then this looks like this is where the USB cable works. It's like a little Android USB cable. That's pretty freaking cool. And while we're here, got the little power supply over here, right? We're just gonna plug that in too. Nice. All right, so before we do that, is we need to install this filament holder. So I'm gonna do is turn this printer. This is one of the main reasons I don't like the power supply separate like this. Okay, that's why one day I'm gonna have it mounted right there, out of the way and secure. Okay. So this piece here, I want to put the filament extruder on, so we're going to align those again. I mean, the filament holder, not extruder. Put that in. They have it put on in the middle, but if this is going to pull the filament in, you don't want the filament to like go down and then like a harsh angle into here or something, or like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way over, more in line with this gantry anyway. That way the filament roll sits here, and then it just goes right in to this like a natural curve. So anyway, that sounds good to me too. Loosen it, tighten that, take the other side, loosen it. Perfect, cool. Both T-nuts cooperated. I'm just gonna snug those because in case I need to move that, I want to be able to move it. That's pretty much it, right? Let me see. All right, well the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and clean this and use my super clean rag for this. Joking, this is like my bed cleaning rag. Get all the glues off the beds. And what I'm gonna do is just wipe this down. Oops, I left it on in the middle too long. I made like a weird X permanently in here. The X-ray one. Oh, that's stuck in it. You can kind of feel some of the glue coming off though, that's good. Use the rest of it. I have another bottle.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You went on a hunt for a bottle.
I know. I know. I found one though. I have another bottle, but I just want to see if this will clear up that X burn that I made. If not, I'll have a permanent X in my bed. Okay, so I don't know if that's maybe that X that I burned in just because the alcohol dissolved the glue there or what, but I know these little kind of ultra base style beds come with like a coating on them, and I think eventually with enough alcohol I'll get the rest of this stuff off. Yeah, you can feel that that's actually like a glue or something, and then the part that the alcohol left an X is nice and smooth. But anyway, that should be good. I always do that before I do a test print, and yeah, it looked like it came off a whole bunch of black glue and stuff. Get the little one calling. 1 second, guys. Cool, so we got this thing. Oh, I forgot my filament. 1 second. I gotta get one of those test filaments from downstairs. 2 more steps before we turn this thing on. We get it test printing and it's done. Okay, so we got the PLA. We're gonna open that up and then we're going to put it on our awesome filament holder here. Just like that. Fluffsicles. Okay. I'm gonna straighten this out. You always wanna straighten this out. Oops. Don't kink it. I think that'll be fine. Okay, and then we're gonna put this over in here. It's gonna pop through. Aha! See that? Pop through. I'm gonna do that again. Replay. Slow mo. Pop through. Okay.
Oh look, we see your kink too.
That never happened. Okay, so now we can put this over, pop that in, and we're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of get that prepped. Actually, no, we're gonna try the little filament thing. Little filament, change filament features they have on here. Next step, grab your power cable. I already took off the little zip tie a little ahead of time, thinking ahead. Take that off. I'm gonna plug this into here. Power supply like this. Okay, and this is gonna go into a wall. And just because I don't want this thing to fall over, I'm gonna move this desk closer to the wall. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of a tight shot, but it's okay. All right, now we're ready to try this. Oh no, we're not ready. Forgot. We have some belts to do. Okay, so let's do those first. Looks like you use a medium-sized bolt. All you gotta do is loosen these, and then I'm gonna push against each side of these until they're about halfway, and then I'm just gonna tighten them. Kind of go one by one to the head. The screw compresses the plastic and holds good. And you want it to sound like that. That might be maybe a tiny bit too tight, but I kind of like it tight like that. You want it to ring like guitar strings. And then up here, we got one last belt to adjust, which is just these two screws. It looks like it shows like where it might have already been adjusted before. So, probably from when they did the test print. So what I'm gonna do is push this basically until I can push it against to where that circle was. And then I'm gonna hold it flush, that's gonna bug me. And then I'm gonna just tighten it down on the old little circle that was left there. And that should be good. Okay, good. Look at this. Look at this. Look. See, when this thing's printing, this thing's gonna finally, and then disaster strikes. So we're gonna turn this on. How much do you want to bet that's from the fan thing back here? Let's check that out. Oh gosh, this power supply. Got it. Okay. So that loose fan in there is definitely an issue. Just like I said it would be. Okay, so it's good though. Just needed to check the screws. Can't be too tight. So this is the fan. I had the two screws tightening it. The fan was too tight against the bracket, so the little fan pieces were clipping the inner edge of where the fan mount was. So I think what I'm gonna do is put maybe two little mini washers in there to keep the fan away from the bracket so you don't have that issue. But I basically just adjusted it and it's working, so. Now we're good, now it's quiet. All right, so let's get this thing leveled. Okay, so what you're gonna do, this is the main screen. You wanna make sure your temperatures are showing correctly, nothing negative, so it looks about right, ambient temperature. You're gonna wanna click the button in, go to prepare, go to auto home. We're gonna see how this thing homes. So it's going up, going to the X. Y is gonna home. All end stops are working. Z is gonna take a million years.
1 hour later.
All right, so we're back. It's almost done. We were able to go get some coffee, and here we go. Looks like right as it's homing, it's right on the glass bed, so we'll have to do some adjustments there. But now we're homed. That's basically where the printer is gonna be right before it prints. So we're gonna do a disable steppers under prepare, and that should let me do this. Perfect. And what that's gonna do is let me move all this. And now, now that we have it in place, we kind of want to go in like a little grid here. And what I'm going to do is just going to turn these little knobs. If you don't know how to do these, just watch my other videos. It basically raises and lowers the bed. What I'm trying to do, see that's hitting on this one side now, so I got to lower that side. That's good. And I'm just doing this by eye. I've done this so many times that I kind of already know how low it should be by visual. And we're just doing it just kind of by eye because I want to see how well this thing stays leveled. Looks good. Looks good. It's looking good. Okay, looks like everything's good. Let's go ahead and load the filament. So we're gonna hit the main button and hit prepare. Move down to, why not, change filament. We're gonna hit preheat PLA, since it's PLA. That's gonna lift up and get itself out of the way. Uh-oh, what's up, man? Okay.
Ghost Adventures.
I think I know why I did that. Let me wait until this is done. I think what it needs to do is be at the homed position, and then when you click that, it moves the bed all the way forward. But since I had moved it from leveling the bed, it was already ahead. So when it did its code to move 300, it maxed out. That's what happened. So, okay, so it's saying to insert the filament and then hit continue. So I'm gonna hit that, and I think it's gonna home again. Okay, see, now it knows where it's at. I don't think it'll do that issue again anymore. Oh, okay, so I get how this works now. So when you change the filament, it's gonna say wait for the filament to change. Okay, see now it's homed, and then now the perfect amount of film movement for the bed. So basically what you gotta do is you gotta insert this yourself manually. So once it's up to temperature, it shows you on the screen right here. It's gonna get up to 180, it's pretty much there. It wants you to insert this yourself. Watch some of the filament come out of the nozzle, and then once it's ready, it basically tells you that it's ready to print. There it is, see? Just like that. You're gonna take that little, let it cool off with the fan, take that little piece off, and then when it says when insert filament and press button to continue, that means you've done it. Oh wait, now it's actually gonna purge this time. Maybe it didn't purge last time because it had the bed didn't move the right distance. So now it's purging. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Spitting it out, making a nice little beautiful print. Making doodle.
Sculpture.
Making doodle bob. Okay, so now you have the option of purging more or continuing. So we're gonna hit continue since we know it's good. And then, oh, let me get rid of that before it moves down. So you're good. Okay, cool. So that means it's done. So what I'm gonna do now is we're going to do some time lapses of the test prints. So we're gonna print from the SD card since we have it inside. And which one do you wanna print? Oh, there's 3 test cubes, 3 test prints. Which one do you wanna do?
2.
Okay. So we're gonna hit 2. Just gotta wait for the bed to heat up. All right, there's a couple things I forgot to do before we do this. Is if you look at the X gantry right here, there is some measurements here where you're supposed to level the X gantry, but honestly, it looks perfect. Like there's nothing to adjust. Like I feel like I want to adjust this right one, but the more I look at it, it's exactly at 101 millimeters. So we're not gonna do anything with that. Cool. So while we install these things, I just wanted to talk about how cool this printer is. It's basically like running old Marlin firmware and the old LCD screens and everything, but it's like on like a newer body. So it's like what we wanted printers to be a long time ago, and it's really cool that that's finally happened with a printer that's at a good price. So, but anyway, that's one thing that I really liked about this. And then also one other thing that I liked that they did here is they added this little spec sheet here, which is pretty cool. It tells you the precision, so you can go supposedly down to 0.05 printing resolution, so that's the layer height, which is awesome. It recommends a max of 0.3 millimeter height unless you change the filament, the nozzle to like a 0.6 or something. It tells you the build volume, the printing speed, all the different voltages, all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was a cool little touch. The last thing I want to do is, if anyone knows these things, you know how bad they are. Like they take up your printing volume. The nozzle will get caught on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove them. Eryone includes these little like bed clips here, and it's just as simple as like putting it on the corner here and then tightening it on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I push this here like that, and I'm using the middle sized Allen wrench to give, and I'm just going to snug that on just like that. Nothing too crazy, just enough to hold it. And then I'll put this one on this side. Hopefully that won't get in the way of anything either. I'll just hand snug it and then give it a little bit more snug, and then I'm going to add it to the other 2 sides too. So this, I love how low profile those are. Those are like definitely not even going to get anywhere near your printing space. And I'm doing this right now with the bed hot. I'm not sure why, but I like to do all my calibrating with everything at temperature, so you know that the changes that you make aren't going to change on you if it's cold or whatever. Okay, that's good. And then the last one, I'll just do like right here somehow. Come on. Get on there. Yeah, that's good. Ooh, that would have been bad if I broke one of those fans. Everyone, maybe think of a fan cover there for people like me. Okay, now we got it on. Pretty much almost up to temperature. So what we're gonna do is just print from the SD card. She picked number 2. And we're just gonna let that go. We don't need these anymore. Get rid of those obsolete things. And then we're just gonna let this thing print. I'm gonna set up a time lapse. Just wanna do a quick cut. I got the time lapse going there. I wanna show you how fast this thing prints. Super nice. So we'll see how it goes. So a couple of things while this thing time lapses, and then I'll cut to the time lapse, is all jokes aside, this thing does take a little bit long to heat up, just like any other old school printer running this firmware and this old school kind of like, I guess, boards and stuff. But it is just a standard aluminum bed that heats up, via the traces and stuff. So I think in a V2 or something in the future, if they release something new, I think they need to upgrade to a silicone heated bed and kind of catch up to what the other printer companies are doing nowadays. But other than that, if you guys want just like run-of-the-mill basic printer with a large format that just works no problems right out of the box, definitely check out one of these. And yeah, so that's basically it right now. It's going to try and run this thing. I'm going to see how many test prints I can get out of the roll that they give you, and then we're going to see how it works. quality on this thing is crazy. Let me see if I can zoom in on this quality. Look at this one didn't really quite finish, but look at the layer on this. This is whatever layer height they had it set to, probably something really fine. And then this is what I printed. And the quality is just awesome. All these little specks and stuff are from where the supports were. But as far as everything else, it's awesome. Here is what a finished squirrel or test print 2 looks like. The quality looks awesome. Here is the benchy that printed with the white filament that it came with. You can see the black that they started out with during their testing at the factory. It's awesome. I think this is test print 1. Oh no, 3. And then test print 1 is this cube here, which is awesome. Came out super good. So the quality machine is fantastic. So one of the things I love about this printer the most is how easily the filament goes into the connector. And it wasn't until I researched more on the website, I'll put it on the screen, they actually taper their own little adapter pieces here, little Bowden adapter pieces, to where the filament basically guides itself in because it's tapered. So I thought that was a really cool feature, and I think that should be pretty much standard. But let me go ahead and get some close-ups of what it's printing now, and that's basically it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them. So here we go. So here's what I'm printing right now. It's some leg armor for a customer, and then it's going right back to printing these earpieces. That is it. Big thumbs up. Film from there, right? Is that good? Yeah.
Sorry, I burped.
That's okay. I'm out of breath. I had to go run across our 400-yard house. I'm just out of shape. Look at this thing. Should we do the coffee cut and all that? Go get Starbucks. By the time this thing ended, it's Z, homie.